Well, 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 look who's back. In all honesty, I'm glad you're back. If you're here from the first video or this is the first video that you're finding, welcome to me blabber on about Raid Shadow Legends. So, we're on day 2 now of the free-to-play account, and I've got to be honest, they give you so much energy at the start. I've made massive gains. So let's go ahead and just look at that real quick. So I got my Kayle up to level 5 or level 50, 5 stars, fully ascended, fully booked him out. And he has absolutely been hard carrying. In the meantime, I also have the 4 champions that I will eventually be feeding into him. Well, I'm not 100% sure that I want to feed War Priest. She has been pretty clutch as a support, even without any books or any ascension. So I'm a little hesitant on that. In the meantime, we have just been kind of farming up more food champions. I leveled up Saurus. A lot of people have said that he's really good at being your campaign farmer. And campaign farmer is basically, you get a champion up to level 60, ascend them, get their masteries right here, and you can put them on a team by themselves with 3 other champions that you're just going to level up as food, and they will blitz through waves. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not quite seeing it, but I also haven't invested a ton into Saurus, so, you know, maybe I'm wrong. And the nice thing about uncommons is, in order to scale their abilities, rather than needing books like with rares, epics, legendaries, uncommons only do it by getting fed copies of themselves. Now, you can feed a copy of a champion into a champion. So if I had a second Kayle, I could feed the second Kayle to level up his abilities. But you don't ever do that. Almost never. You never do it for epics or legendaries. Rares, I could kind of see the argument. We also hit level 25, and so we got our second epic from our link code, and you may be noticing a bit of a scandal. I know. I said I wasn't going to use the Vergus or the Sun Wukong, but those of you with the savvy eyeballs, they are level 10, and that is because in order to get through some of our Arbiter missions, I had to do Minotaur. And essentially, you kill Minotaur, drops you scrolls, you then use those scrolls to unlock masteries. I could not solo him with Kayle at the time, and I really did not want to invest in champions that I knew I was just going to feed into Kayle. So for the limited Minotaur runs, I think 5 in total, maybe 6, I did use Sun Wukong and Vergus to just kind of help Kayle through. Now, it wasn't a huge deal, but I would have lost a lot of sleep if I had allowed scrolls to wind up on any champion that I was not going to use. So, I apologize. But, as you can see, they're still sitting in the vault. I haven't touched the Fane yet, and Fane is really good. Go ahead and take a look at her. Skinwalkers. I actually use Fane as a clan boss champion on my main account, personal account, whatever you want to call it. She's got a double hitter on the A1, a single hitter on the A2 that applies poisons and has a decreased attack, and her A3 is a 3-time hitter, decreased defense 60% and 25% weakened, so the big versions of both of those buffs, or debuffs rather. She's really good for clan boss. So eventually I will be bringing her out of the vault and investing into her to kind of help build a clan boss team. She also can be pretty good in Fire Knight, but the problem is she's really, really squishy. So that might be a task. As you can see here, I actually haven't pulled any shards. And the reason is because so honestly, guaranteed champion events are pretty good because at least you know exactly what you're going to get if you pull enough. Unfortunately, I don't have any sacred shards, and on this account, in a day, there's no way I could even get to the point where I could have enough sacred shards to guarantee getting Mad Hatter. Ancient shards and void shards I don't pull, and I don't suggest that people pull them unless there is a 2 times event going on. And the reason is, if you click on this little button right here, they very nicely, honestly, give you all of the drop chance percentages on the shards you pull. So if you see here for the ancient shards, you only have a 0.5% chance to get a legendary, 8% to get an epic, and 91% or 91.5 to get a rare. So chances are with the ancients and the voids, you are going to pull a rare. Now, early on in the account, if you're watching this and you've already pulled all of your early shards, that's fine, because even in an early account progression, having some extra rares that you can throw in alongside your starter will also help progress your account. And the reason I'm not doing it is because, one, Kayle is a really solid starter, and I have been able to progress pretty far through the game. So if you see here, I'm currently stuck on stage 4 of the hard campaign, hard 12. But eventually I should be able to do that. Not too worried about it. Got some things here. I also, in my dungeons, I've gotten to Dragon 7. Ice Golem, I didn't really run a lot. I think I only ran him for the Arbiter missions. Got through stage 5. Spider's Den, I have been struggling with a bit. And depending on the champion that you chose to start with, if you used the first time link code that you could use within the first like 24 hours, on another account, I use Loki, and Loki helped me breeze through the early stage of Spider. Here I don't have that, and I'm not using the Wukong yet, so stuck on stage 2 of Spider. Potion keeps, I got through a couple of them and was planning on working through them a little bit more later on, because, and I kind of forgot to mention this, because it's so ingrained in my brain whenever I make an account to like do a challenge or something like that, that this right here, this early tournament, as you can see, I still got about 17 hours on it. The early tournament is everybody's going to be in this tournament when you're new. For me, I generally just try to focus on getting all of the rewards on the right, because it's been my experience that usually people go really nuts here at the top 1 and top 2. Honestly, not really seeing it. So maybe I could squeak in, get this rare skill tome, 75 gems. Dare I say, even try to get the ancient shard. Maybe. And the way you get points for this is just doing the things that the game wants you to do in the early stages. You get points from clearing stages you haven't cleared before, whether it be dungeons, campaign, all that stuff. So just keep playing the game and you will earn the points. And if you really want to try and push for that ancient shard, then just push as hard as you can. Other than that, we have a couple of other things to talk about. The first is, this is probably where you're going to see your first big hurdle. Getting a champion to 5 stars is laughably easy. It is much, much harder to get them to 6 stars because you have to feed 5 other 5 stars. And actually, as I'm saying that out loud and looking over, oh wait, no, I do. I have my last 5-star candidate right here. I haven't leveled him up yet. Normally, I might keep rares early on, but I'm gonna be honest, Gloral, I'm not feeling it. I don't think he's very good. Yeah, even he's probably more useful being fed than he is actually being invested into. And that's not the case for a lot of people. And I'm actually probably going to post a video maybe tomorrow. Once you've gotten your 6 stars, your first 6 star, then it's okay, who do I bring up next? And if you're not feeding, or if you're not opening shards and you're just kind of using whatever the game gives to you, you do have a couple of really good options in the beginning. The first is Eris. Eris is pretty good. And even in high-end clan boss teams, people still use her quite a bit. There's also quite a few champions, some rares, that are farmable that you can grab for yourself just by farming campaign stages. So the first one I can think of right here is, of course, you got Eris. Elfguard also, even as an uncommon, super solid. Whereas the big one is War Maiden, because she's going to bring your decreased defense and a big increased attack buff, along with being able to place some poisons. That's just the extra on top. So, and you can book her. Well, you can farm copies of her to book her up so that she has a 100% chance to place a big decreased defense for 2 turns. So she's a big one. Any others? Yeah, I would say Diabolus. She's your early increased speed, has the big increased speed, has the fill turn meter and decrease enemy turn meter, so turn meter manipulation. And honestly, speed and turn meter manipulation are the biggest, some of the biggest buffs and debuffs that you want to get, because as you've probably noticed, as you play the game, you got this little yellow bar that slowly begins to fill up. That essentially decides which champion is going to go when. Now, if you can manipulate somebody else's turn meter and their speed, then you start taking extra turns. You start lapping them. Maybe you even get to a point where you're taking 2-3 turns before they even take their first turn. And if a champion can't take a turn, it can't hurt you. So the other one is working through arena. And actually, funnily enough, when I ended my the first video, and I was going to do a little bit of grinding before I went to bed, and I went to the arena, and then this happened.
Bro. Raid. What? Raid. What is this? What is, look at my champs. Raid, what is this? Why? Clarium, please. What is this, man? What is this? What? This is the first team someone's gonna go, their very first arena experience, and it's going to be against. All right. Sure.
Yeah. So arena can be a little bit of a drag. I'll be honest with you. I've never been a fan of arena in this game because it, in a lot of ways, there is kind of a must be this tall to ride. Obviously there, that was a gimme, but as you progress higher up in tiers, on my main account right now, I'm gold 4, and it can be a bit of a slog. The other thing I wanted to touch on is kind of my strategy for where I am kind of double dipping in leveling up champions and farming gear. And that is Dragon's Lair Stage 7. As you can see here, I just got Kayle and a couple of, or quite a few, 2 couples of feeder champs. And that's because where Kayle is now, I can run this, and he doesn't do it incredibly fast. There's definitely people who eventually will clear this much later on, faster. But Kayle is able to almost 100% success rate clear this. And that's super important for him to do by himself, because it means that I can level up 4 food champs and farm some fairly good gear for where your account and my account is at. And hey, we hit level 30. Congrats us. As you can see here, they're all getting experience and I'm farming some loot. Now, actually, I mean, it's only 3-star, but an accuracy set with accuracy and speed as the 2 substats, that's kind of the best you could ask for. Now, of course, later on this gear will get phased out. I mean, okay, it wants us to do this. Okay, cool. I was afraid that it was going to give me a tutorial and kind of take control of my account, but it didn't. So the biggest thing, okay, now it's going to do it. So I'll just cut this out.
Each relic comes with a unique ability. You can increase your congratulations. In order to keep upgrade relics can be further enhanced.
They can be further enhanced.
You can learn more. Congratulations. Now you can enhance your
Okay, so got that Song and Pony show out the way. I ended up equipping it to Kayle because, I don't know, he's the starter. He's Big Johnson on campus. And truthfully, it's this right here. It's probably not going to make a huge difference on my account, but the extra attack will be nice, and the dealing increased damage while under debuffs and the increased turn meter fill will just make Kayle better. Now, one of the reasons why Kayle is so effectively able to solo the dragon is because, and I would suggest everybody do this, with my first 800 gems that I was able to collect, I just straight up bought Kayle's masteries. And you could do that for literally anybody. I just click there, or maybe I click over here. Oh, yeah, there you go. And for 800 gems, you can buy someone's masteries. And I would definitely suggest doing that for Kayle before doing anything else. Then what I would suggest, after the first 800, the next 1500 should probably go into your gem mine. Now, these are a little bit of a long-term investment. You are paying in 1500 gems so that this gem mine will give you approximately 15 and a half, so 15 or 16 every single day. This kind of maths out to about 3-month investment before it pays itself off, before every gem afterwards is just net gains. If you are planning to play the game long term, and if the first week or so, which it'll probably take you to get those 1500 gems, I would strongly suggest unlocking the mine. After unlocking the mine, I would then suggest using whatever gems you get to unlock these slots, because while it's pretty uncommon that you'll buy gear out of here, I think on my main account in the year of total playtime, almost I've maybe bought 1 or 2 pieces out of there that were like 5-star, legendary, perfect substats, what I was looking for. They can be quite expensive, and a lot of times it's just not worth it. However, every time I open this marketplace, I'm buying these mystery shards. You will have so many mystery shards that you will feel like they are falling out of your butt. All right. And the nice part about mystery shards is even though the chance is really low, 1.4%, you can still get rares out of them. In fact, that's how I got Gloral, was I think over the course of last night, leveling up Kayle, I probably fed maybe 100 champions. And the way I did that, let's get another 50 gems. The way I did that is, and this is pretty basic stuff, but for new people, what you do here is you take a champion. We'll take Death Knight. You'll feed 3 more 1-stars into him and 1 experience brew. That'll bring him up to max level. You'll level him up. You'll feed another 1-star into him, and now you've got a 2-star. And then from there, as you can see, you just build up your 2-stars, level them up, and then feed them, and you just repeat the process ad nauseum until you get your first 6-star, and then your second 6-star, and your third 6-star, etc., etc. Now, my biggest point of advice, besides all the things I've said thus far, is once you get your main champion, your starter, to level 60, then you want to focus in on your next 60. The biggest problem that I did for a long time, embarrassingly long time, on my main account was I kind of dirtled around. I'd get a new champion out of a shard. Oh, this guy's so cool. Bring him up to level 50. And then, you know, the opportunity cost to bring a 50 to a 60 is exorbitantly more than going from 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Right. And so I did that a lot. And I had an account that was, I have so many 50s. I have so many 50s on champs that I probably will never use or only use in very, very niche scenarios. It is much better to pick the next champion that you are going to level up and get them there. I'll be making a video on all the champions in the uncommon rank. And there is a few that you could bring to 60. Or perhaps, and I know I just said don't dirtle, but this isn't really dirtling. Some of these guys you could get to 50 and they'll do the thing for you. You know what I mean? They will do what you need them to do, whether it be, I need someone who's bringing debuffs, someone who's going to cleanse my team, someone who is going to control enemy turn meter. So, from here, there's not much else to talk about, really. There's also, I guess as a last note, this fragment summon going on. And I've actually been able to acquire, so right here with the gear enhancement, I'm like 1 enhancement away from getting this 5-star, or these 5 fragments. I've already got the 10 over there, and I've got the 10 over here. So I will say that it's probably not feasible for you to complete this fragment summon unless you plan on spending money. Because later on, it's going to get a lot more intensive with the amount of money you have to spend in terms of silver, because these gear enhancements especially can get quite pricey. Now, the nice part is, and there is one caveat, the requirements that you need to complete these events scales with what your account is capable of, kind of based off of your level and how long you've been playing. So, whereas on my main account, doing this one gear enhancement, I think you need like 6,000 points, which is, it's fully leveling up a lot of 6 stars, which is a lot of silver. It is definitely more accomplishable right now. However, I don't, you know, the more I talk to myself about it, so we missed the spider. I missed the spider event. So maybe, maybe I can't, maybe it could do it. Maybe I can do it. The summon one is going to be tough though, because you don't have any shards. Yeah, I think that's kind of the nail in the coffin, is the summoning one, because I don't think I don't see how you'd have the shards for it. However, all's not lost, because Raid has added this thing in where normally what would happen is you do a fragment summon and you would fail. You'd get 70, 80 fragments. And then you'd never be able to pick up fragments for this champion again. What they have done is they've added a legendary where you can feed unused fragments to get fragments for this champion. So even if you might not be able to get Esme, and again, this isn't necessarily advice for everybody who's free to play. People who are low spenders could probably, or even medium spenders, could probably use this information. But I will say, if you plan on really wanting this fusion, you're probably going to need to open your wallet, unfortunately. So, other than that, that's day 2 of our progress report. I'm just going to keep keeping on. Yeah. Oh, clan boss. Do your clan boss runs. Even if you 2-key, as you see here, I 2-keyed. Couldn't even get to 1 million. And so I'll be getting this add-up chest. But luckily, the clan that I'm in can do easy, which is kind of funny because we have some people in here who are doing lots of damage to the clan boss. I'm not quite sure why they're still here in this clan, but do it every day. Get yourself some free rewards. You'll get some gear, cruel set, and you'll get, maybe if you're lucky, you'll get some ancient shards, some potions. So make sure you're doing your clan boss runs every day. So that's been it for me for now. I wish you guys the best of luck in all the shards that you will or won't pull and all the progress that you're making. And I'll see you next time.